draft picks,
Yeah.
undrafted free agents.
Schedule.
Um, absolutely. Fifth year options being picked up, contract extensions. The core of this team currently is you and I were just discussing before we started this live stream. The core of this team, and a big reason why you and I both view this team as possibly the best team overall that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell has had since they've been here, because the core of this team, even if you're a person that views the 2022 2023 Lions as the best team, in all actuality, the core of that team is on this team still, and all of those guys are like right at the beginning of their primes, if not right at the outskirts of it.
Yeah.
Of course, a guy like Jameer Gibbs he's right there too. And he's played like he's been in his prime since he's been in the league, but people forget Amon Ross, St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Panay Sewell. People forget how young Panay Sewell was when he got drafted. Age wise, all of these guys are right there in their primes. So, and they've all financially been locked up.
Yeah.
So, in all actuality, we're looking at a Lions team that, as long as these guys don't fall off a cliff, because we being honest about it, all players, you're not going to keep five or six guys all playing at elite levels for 10 years, 11 years. Typically doesn't happen that way. Usually at least one or two guys wind up falling off, whether it's due to injuries or just lack of production, whatever it may be, scheme changes.
Yeah.
But just looking at things from a glass half full perspective, we expect from guys who are 24, 25, 26 years old, we expect at least another good 4 to 5 years out of all those guys, which kind of keeps our window open,
Yeah.
very open. And we just talking about the offense right there. We haven't even gotten to the defense. The one wild card I believe to be in all this, like you and I were just discussing before we started the live stream, is the quarterback position. Are they set right now to compete? Are they in a better situation right now with Jared Goff at quarterback to compete next year than they will be with a rookie or a Luke Altmaier or somebody else that they drafted this year or next year? Of course. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. And we're going to get into next year's draft preview and a little bit of the 2027 draft as well. But you and I both agree this is a team that has its core of players. Jack Campbell just got his money. The core of this team is still right there at the beginning of their primes, all of the players. Now you go over to the defensive side of the ball, things are a little bit different. Like I said, Jack got his money. Jack's going to be here for a long time. The two big questions, man, even outside of the cornerback position, two safeties. Um,
Mm-hmm.
strong safety, free safety. The health of those two guys right there. We're talking about two all pro caliber players, Pro Bowl caliber players. But before we get into anything else, how do we get here? I want to go to these stats real quick, man, from the 2025 season. This was a team that finished 9-8. If you look at how things finished down the stretch, they lost three of their last four games against the Rams, the Steelers, the Vikings, before they finally won 19. Was it 19-16? No, was it? They
Yeah.
beat them. What was the score of that game? Not that it really matters at all, but oh yeah, 1916, which was a very unimpressive way to end the season for a team
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty much playing for their playoff lives against the Rams, the Steelers, and the Vikings, where things did not work out. Offense was pretty good last season, but I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say the same thing that you have said, and a lot of other hardcore Lions fans who follow us have said. Where was the offense in the games where you needed it? Two games against Green Bay, where was it? Primetime game against the Philadelphia Eagles, where was that
Eagles.
offense at?
Yep.
The offense showed up against the bum ass teams or the bum ass defenses, but where was that fourth ranked offense in the NFL when you needed it? Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't there consistently, and the defense didn't. And there was some numbers about this defense I want to get into before I toss it over to you, brother. This was a defense last year that was ninth in the league in third down percentage,
Yeah.
which is great. Top 10 in the league in third down percentage getting off the field. They were 22nd in points given up. This was a team that was 26th in the league in passing touchdowns given up. They gave up 31 touchdowns through the air. They were 21st in pass attempts given up,
Yeah.
20th in yards. Like this was a defense that overall was not really good, and they were middle of the road against the run. They were 21st in the league in yards per carry given up, 16th in touchdowns, 14th in yards. So they were able to get away being middle of the road against the run, but they were terrible against the pass last season. You can blame some of that on the cornerback position. You can blame a lot of it on Kirby Joseph missing extensive time, Brian Branch being forced out of position as far as his duties.
Yeah.
But it was obvious that the defense, even though the offense, some of those numbers offensively were kind of a sham because it was a lot of they came against a lot of bad competition. But that defense, man, it has to get better.
Yep. Yep. I really do believe that just what you said, man. Pretty much what you're saying is our secondary sucked. Our defense sucked as a whole. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? The way they sugarcoat it. I mean, they let us down. And it does come to players when it comes down to it. It comes to real talent, not guys that are good guys and are, how do we always say a good soldier or what I mean, try hard guys. I mean, that's good. You got to have your roster, fill your roster out with some of those guys. But man, I just felt like having Thomas Harper out there, regular Nick Whiteside, which those guys did admirable. You know what I mean, for the situation they were in. But it was just we never could get pressure on the quarterback. I mean, we have it for years now, a couple years. So I think that it starts with that. And when teams know that you can't pressure the quarterback, man, it just unlocks a whole different plethora of play calling, more confidence where teams are running the ball, more frequently because they know you don't have a pass rush. We couldn't stop the run either. You know what I'm saying? Remember we hung our hat on stopping a run 2 years ago, and we just wasn't able to execute, man, for whatever reason on defense. I do think that, coming into this season, I really do think that I think the roster as a whole, just what you said, is we're in way better shape on both sides of the ball than we were last year. You know what I mean? But let's just stay with the defense right now. It's a couple question marks, man, right now. I mean, yes, getting Derek Moore, I love the pick. You know what I'm saying? I like Derek Moore. You know what I mean? People saying, well, we didn't take him. We didn't take him. We took him ahead of Zion Young, which Zion Young was another guy I wanted. But hey, Derek Moore was admirable during Senior Bowl. I think Derek Moore is way more better than what people give him credit for. I think some people here is kind of skeptical of Derek Moore. You know what I'm saying? He's not here to be the game changer, Micah Parsons type, edge rusher. I mean, it'd be nice if he had some of those traits, but I'm just saying he doesn't have a big weight on his shoulder, and I think that's part of it with him. I think that if you're putting him next to other players, you know what I'm saying, and they if you could depend on Derek Moore to just handle his side, to just take up his side, I think he's way more capable of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Stand him straight up and just tell Derek, get to the quarterback, man. We'll do what you do best. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to just simplify it. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that he will provide as opposed to him and some other guys that are vying for a backup spot or just trying to make this team one. I think just that alone would make the defense better, man, to just have, just reckless abandon on that defensive line, as well as we talked about Lee McNeil. I think Lee McNeil really got crapped on by the fans. I really do. I me, I'm a Lee McNeil guy, and I know it's emotional, and I know, people can say what they want. That's fine. But I really do think everybody kind of turned their back on Lee McNeil, man. I mean, I agree. Don't have him out there. Now, if he's still hurt or if he's not 100%, then Lee McNeil shouldn't have been out there. So If you hit the field, I expect you to produce. Now, no matter who it is, but I think Lee McNeil gonna have to come back and have a decent back to Lee McNeil season. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think some of that's just frustration? I
Yeah,
think
of
from
course, of course.
fans,
Somebody
like,
got to be blamed for it. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
and you know, I think some Pistons fans went through it as well with Cade Cunningham early on in his career. Like you had when sometimes and I'm not saying it's right. I think it's very irrational as fans also, but sometimes when you have such high hopes for a player and they're consistently injured
Hmm.
and you want to, you're excited to see him in particular, Lee McNeil come back because you view him as this potential, and this is where the word potential gets people in trouble. We
Hmm.
view Aleem McNeil as a potentially dominant defensive tackle. But
Yeah.
even when he's not hurt, we only get flashes of that. We'll see him look completely unblockable for one game, and then in 2 games, he'll go missing in action. You'll look at the run defense numbers, the run defense goes to shit, the interior pass rush numbers go to shit. And elite defensive tackles don't have those type of games. They don't. So I
Right.
think some of it, and you pair that with, man, this dude, he always hurt. And damn, he came back and we thought he was gonna be the linchpin that really got this defense running. Because you and I thought it was before he came back.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of it with fans, it's just fans being irrational. And we're
Yeah.
frustrated with them. Not to say that, I mean, I'm frustrated with them a little bit too, because I view it a little bit differently with a guy like Derek Moore. Guys like Derek Moore and Alexander Zaloni, if you want them to get more involved in the pass rush game,
Hmm.
they need a table setter. I
Yeah.
think Tyleek Williams may be more important this year than Aleem McNeil because he's the guy that's supposed to take on the double teams. They're going to play Aleem more at 3 technique the way they have the last couple years, I'm guessing. Our lads has us listed as a 4-3. I don't know how much 4-3 base they're going to play this season coming up,
Hmm.
but I think Tyleek Williams may be more important on the interior for us this year because we need a table setter. We need a guy that's going to take on those double teams on the interior, a guy that can stop the run by himself at 2 gap, and like I said, take on 2 guys. Aleem McNeil, ultimately, his productivity may hinge on how much of an impact on the interior Tyleek Williams has. If
Hmm.
we can't have guys to keep Derek Moore clean,
Yeah.
Derek Moore gonna struggle.
Hmm.
That's just off
Exactly.
rip for most young edge rushers.
Yeah. And that's right. And just what you said, man. Like you said, Lee McNeil didn't play up to par. I just think that he wasn't. I just think he wasn't healthy all the way. You know what I'm saying? I just think they kind of rushed him back, kind of, to me. That's just my opinion. I just think that he's a guy, I trust him way more than I trust, you know, name Anzarike, name those other guys. You know what I'm saying? I just think that Lee McNeil got way more left in the tank than what people give him credit for. And what you said, man, I totally agree with Tilly Williams. I think that now the light bulb's going to go off with him. I think that he's better. I mean, he had a strong,
It's his turn now.
preseason, and then it was sort of like he might have hit that rookie wall and kind of like, probably like week 5 or 6. I mean, he played every game. It was just like you said, it
Yeah.
was just he couldn't shed any tackles to make any plays or, in a run game or just teams just did not fear the Lions defensive line. Just, no double team. And that was the problem that was kind of stunning because I don't think they was double teaming Tyleek Williams, to the point to where he couldn't make any plays. It was just, getting the ball out quick. Don't let Aiden wreck the game. You know what I'm saying? Don't let, their secondaries get set. Teams, say what you want about other NFL teams, man. These coaches are smart, man. You know what I'm saying? These teams, they've spent a whole week preparing for you, man. You know what I mean? And they know if it's any kind of weak spot in that defense or an offense or offensive line, defensive line, whatever it is, they're going to exploit it. And the Lions got exploited. How many times last year, starting with week 1, where teams know we didn't have our stuff together on offensive line? They just collapsed the pocket every time. And basically, Green Bay started the season that way on us. So I really do believe that Derek Moore, he was one of the players that I did have highlighted, to really he could really flip the season for the Lions. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, if he struggles, then our coverage going to have to be, we're going to have to be great in coverage if that's the case, until he gets his feet up under him. But if he could just, get shot out of a cannon and start knocking people out right off the bat, man, that would be good to see. You know what I'm saying? That would be a good shot in the arm for this team. Staying on the defense, I expect Keith Abney to make this team. You know what I mean? At corner. I mean, I know he's a little bit undersized to my liking, from a corner. Like you said, I kind of want Reek Woolen type, what I'm saying, kind of bigger guy, kind of wanted the Lions to start going after a corner like that. But that's okay. I think Keith Abney is a guy that has all the sweat. Everything you need swag to play that position, man. You know what I'm saying? And you need to be able to want to play physical. You're gonna have to be confident and know you're the guy that no one can catch a pass on you. And I think that he's got all of those traits. I can't believe we got him in the 5th round when they got him. I do think that may turn out to be one of Brad Holmes' best picks, man, in this draft. Because I see Keith Abney's got something the other guys don't have. I mean, really, right now, he's got a will to fight through. I mean, not disrespecting DJ Reed, because I think that DJ Reed has that too, but DJ Reed was never in the right position. He was seeing like he can't run. I mean, him and Terry and Arnold just seem like they suffer from the same weakness. It seemed like they both can't catch up to the play. You know what I mean? So that's going to be an issue. Now, I don't know speed wise. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't follow a lot of Arizona State football. From time to time, I would watch them late. Stuff like that. Keith Abney was he can be a guy that could make an impact. Just watching tape on him now that we got him, because that's what I've been doing too with him, Kendrick Law, Jimmy Rolder. Those are the 3 guys I kind of been looking like close to see if they have some intangibles, they have some things that they can bring to the table, and all 3 of the players do. Keith Abney, well, I'll let you take it away. Your thoughts on Keith Abney. I don't know if he was I know, didn't he transfer? I think didn't he transfer from I can't remember the school he went to. I don't know if he was at Arizona State the whole time.
Um, I can't recall at
I think Keith
them.
Abney. I didn't want to look it up on my phone, but what I'm saying is, just give me your thoughts. I mean, do you think Keith Abney has a chance to make that?
Definitely.
I'm not even gonna say start. Let's just say make this team, man, because I think that secondary is an answer to a lot of our problems, as well as edge rusher. As much as people don't want to believe that, I do think having a corner that can cover somebody, man, I think that's part of it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Ball skills as well. If you look at the graphic we have brought up now, ourlads.com, you and I were both just talking about how accurate our lads tends to be in regards to updated rosters and whatnot, draft coverage as well. All right, so they did bring in Roger McQuarrie from Tennessee.
Yes.
We still got Ennis Rakestraw sitting around. We don't know what's gonna. He's a big wild card as well too. I believe we need at the cornerback position 2 of these guys to pan out.
Mm-hmm.
It's still up in the air, left cornerback position, to how good Terrion Arnold's going to be. But one thing I believe for sure right now, you're talking about year 3 for Terrion Arnold. They currently have Keith Abney backing him up. I wouldn't say Keith Abney is 100% an Amik Robertson clone, but if you're talking about feistiness, scrappiness, a guy that can play outside as well as in the slot, short area quickness, aggressive at the catch point. He's a guy that will draw some flags though.
Mm-hmm.
But very sticky in coverage. Very sticky in coverage. They definitely have a certain type of corner I see that they like
Mm-hmm.
between Roger McQuarrie, Keith Abney, and Amik Robertson, who left and signed with the Commanders. All 3 of those guys, even Terry and Arnold for that matter, all
Yeah.
of those guys are damn near clones of each other,
Mm-hmm.
size wise, play style wise. Rock Yasin is a little bit bigger, but
Yeah.
I definitely believe Keith Abney makes this team. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I believe it comes down to is how many corners you think, or do we believe they're going to go into the season with? I believe they take at least 5 corners into the playoffs. at least 5 corners into the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And just predicting it now, I say, of course, it's Terrion Arnold, it's DJ Reed, it's Rock Yasin, Keith Abney. That's four right there. I believe they still want to see what they can get out of Ennis Rakestraw. This is a regime that has told us many times before with their actions that yes, we're going to give our guys as many opportunities as it may take for them to fail or succeed. So I
Yeah,
believe Rakestraw makes it as well
that's
off of
right.
that alone. And then Avante Maddox. So I believe Dorsey doesn't make the team. Some of these guys, of course, going to be end up being on the practice squad.
Friend
But
practice squad. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yep.
think what's and honestly, you can even though we don't know what we're going to get out of Rakestraw, that cornerback room right there, I think is pretty tough, pretty scrappy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now it's been proven in this day and age in the NFL, you need to get picks, you need big plays, you need forced fumbles. A big reason this defense struggled a lot last season, but was good on third down. They were ninth in the league in third down percentage. But a big reason this secondary struggled, and you and I pointed that out right at the beginning of the season. They just didn't get them same takeaways they got the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
And they got what, 9 of them from Kirby Joseph?
Yeah.
People don't listen, man. People completely underestimate how important it is in this day and age to get takeaways. Not just sacks. You need to take possessions away from your opponent. You need to kill drives. And we didn't do too much of that last year. Like none of the corners had any ball skills. The only guy in the secondary with ball skills is Kirby Joseph. That's something
Mm-hmm.
else we talked about. We need to get guys. That's why we were really big on Jamal McCoy, who eventually slipped to where he slipped to the Raiders because of injuries. But it's not enough to just be sticky in coverage anymore in the NFL. You need to be the guy that takes the ball away when you're given the opportunity to take the ball away. And last year, this secondary just not did not take the ball away enough. They did not create any short drives for the offense, and that was a huge reason why we did struggle defensively last year. So, just going to the safety position, look at the question marks. Brian Branch. I hear people saying it could be wishful thinking. Well, Branch will be ready for the start of the season. You want to push it? Like this is still a guy you got to pay.
Yeah.
Money comes into factor with this as well.
Yeah. That's right.
Um,
Um,
Look at the other safety position that keeps moving around.
we have Dan
Even
Jackson.
the other, yeah, with Kirby Joseph. Like it's up in the air with him. Both of these guys are in the red for reasons. Chuck Clark, he's a vet that you got out of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Avante Maddox is a guy that's going to play safety as well as corner, but another wild card, and this is a guy that did not play last season, Dan Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Jackson is a big wild card. This guy didn't go to Georgia for no reason. Like Dan Jackson is a good safety. At least he was at Georgia. Now, what is he
Mm-hmm.
going to be in the NFL? To be determined. But
Yeah.
just looking at this safety room and this D-backs room alone, bro, the
Yeah.
safeties, the corners, everybody that we just talked about, who do
Yeah.
you view as it could be two guys, it could be three guys? Who are the guys that you think we need to get a pleasantly surprising season from?
Yeah. Good question. Very good question. Like I said again, I'm gonna say Keith Abney's gonna be one. I'm gonna say he's gonna be one. And I do a guy that we haven't mentioned yet who's really good in coverage. I think is Christian Isian. I think that he's another guy walk from Tampa. That a veteran. I like these veteran. He's smart. You know what I'm saying? He can play that slot role. He can be that extra guy, that roamer out there. I really do like that about him. I think those two guys, you know what I'm saying, right there. We know what we get from Rocky Singh. You know, I love Rocky Singh, what he gave. That's why he's back on his team for another year. I think that he provided a lot, man, getting put in dire straight situation time and time again, week in and week out. So Rocky Sin is a guy, and Devontae Maddox is another guy. Like you said, we both kind of wanted him back, and it was weird how he started to make some plays at the end of last season, and we like, man, where's Maddox been? It's almost like they was bringing, like, Thomas Harper was playing more than Maddox in some spots, which I didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Avante Maddox is more than capable of holding down, the safety spot while we wait on Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph situation to materialize a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, Walt, I think it's going to be Christian Izine and Keith Abney. I think those two guys, add them already with the DJ Reed, with Terran Arnold, with Rock Yassin. Uh, Dan Jackson was on my list too, but I didn't want to steal him away because you mentioned him. But like you said, I think we're in better shape than we were last year. I really do, man. Like you said, last year, both sides of the ball was a lot of question marks. It was sort of like the answer to the defense to everybody's question was Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson was the answer to every defensive question last year. And I think that was we're kind of putting too much on Aiden Hutchinson's plate. Now it seems like, man, if we can just get Hutch, Talik Williams, and Lee McNeil in the middle of that defense, man, that's going to just unlock some great play. From the guy we talk about this contract with Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell was a guy that really,
Good transition too.
you know what I'm saying, has really made a name for himself. Being picked 18th overall in that draft behind Jahmyr Gibbs in that first round. We love Jack Campbell. We both do. You know what I'm saying? I know you do because I do. And it's sort of like Jack ain't flashy. He ain't a guy that's, slapping his helmet and you know what I mean? He just does the job, man. The way Jack Campbell can do it. And I think that's the reason why you can call him one of the leaders on this team now. He could wear that C on his jersey, you know what I'm saying, as a captain on this team, man, because Jack Campbell, he's been a sure tackler since the minute he walked through the door. That's what I like about him. He's getting better in coverage. He's not great, but he's getting better. You know what I mean? He's a sure tackler. His guy barely leaves his arms. If he gets a hand on you, you going down, that type of thing. I'd like to see Jack maybe on the blitz a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if we got better secondary help, I think that would unlock. As I envision Jack Campbell can be great as a situational blitzer and get after the quarterback, man. I mean, he's got the right build for, he's tall, got long arms. You know what I'm saying? As super athletic. I love Jack Campbell. I think he's going to make everybody more happy this year. I think Jack going to have a huge season. You know what I'm saying? Just think about it, man. When a player, is able to unlock what he can do and then get recognized by the organization like he did and reward a contract. I think now he's gonna be way more relaxed and just can play even better. You know what I mean? I think that Jack Campbell's one of the guys we gonna sit back with this team and say, hey man, he's been a linebacker for the team, the last 7 or 8 years and just did his job. You know what I'm saying? So what's your thoughts on Jack Campbell? The money, I just say this, the money don't bother you. That's just what Fred Warner makes. So I think it was just over 21 won't. I think that's the going razor steal. I mean, it's not like we're paying him $40 million a year or anything like that. So
All right, so I think for me, it all goes back to what we was just talking about, or at least what I was just alluding to. Jack is a tackle machine, but the elite of the elite linebackers, they're pretty much elite at everything. People make the Luke Kuechly comparisons. I don't think he's anywhere near the type of linebacker Luke Kuechly was overall. Luke made plays, and I think that's the one. Once again, that's the one thing that separates really good players at their particular position from the elite ones. If I could see Jack maybe get some sacks moving forward, some forced fumbles, making some plays in the passing game, getting some interceptions here and there. Like Luke Kuechly was out there making plays 20, 25, 30 yards downfield in coverage. That's the one thing, at least the one area I think that I would like to see Jack Campbell improve on, making some game-changing plays here and there a little bit more. Is it
yeah,
nice to see you get 147 tackles? Yes, that's nice to see.
yeah,
But the game changing plays, not to say tackles aren't game changing plays. I used to argue with people all the time the difference between a Troy Polamalu and an Ed Reed.
yeah,
Like Ed Reed made season changing plays, game changing plays.
yeah,
I don't care that Troy Polamalu Troy had 1,000 more tackles than Ed Reed. Well, Ed Reed had 1,000 more interceptions. Like I'm just throwing the
yeah,
thousand
yeah,
word
for
out
sure.
there.
I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
you
Yeah,
know, I want to see game changing plays from him. Now, you and I, this goes back to the NFL draft. We talked a lot about Anthony Hill Jr. and how we thought Anthony Hill Jr. would fit in this linebacker room. This is the one, not the one, but this may be maybe the most uneasy positional group I do have on this defense right now. Before we get to the defensive line, after Jack Campbell, what do you have? Like
Yeah,
Malcolm Rodriguez is a nice story. I like him as a rotational player.
yeah,
Am I ecstatic about him being my starting everyday weak side linebacker? No. Derek Barnes, we've had enough of Derek Barnes. Do we know Derek Barnes is a decent player? Yes. Has Derek Barnes beyond hit his ceiling? There's a good chance he is. I don't see
yes,
Derek Barnes in year 4, year 5, year 6, or whatever, all of a sudden becoming an all pro player.
yeah,
Like Derek is what Derek is. Trevor Nowalski, we know what he is. Damone Clark.
hmm,
This is another wild card. This is a guy that you and I both liked at LSU,
yeah,
had some health issues, went to Dallas, didn't last in Dallas, didn't
yeah,
last in Houston. Now he's here in Detroit for some crumbs.
hmm,
Um, Eric Hunter, Joe Botchke. So it's like in Jimmy Roder, this is
uh
a guy that hopefully he's a guy that steps up and becomes a hidden gem for us because
yeah.
this linebacker room, this is something that maybe looking forward to the 2027 draft may be an area of concern for this team getting some upgrades at because I'm
Yeah,
not 100% sold on this room right now.
yeah. And I agree. Like I said, that's why I'm trying to find something with Jimmy Rolder, man. I think that he's just a rotational piece at best to me. I mean, he
I got
didn't.
high hopes, bro, and I'm gonna let you take it because Jimmy did get better at Michigan. Where every year he got more snaps, Jimmy did get better. So
Yeah,
maybe Jimmy's one of those guys where, listen, I never got the opportunity at Michigan consistently, but the
yeah.
more snaps y'all give me, the more productive I'm gonna be.
He reminded me of Jack Sawyer. I think Jack Sawyer, like he not super athletic or anything like that. You know what I mean? Just it just reminds me of him a little bit. I think Jack Sawyer was more of a better pass rusher, but Jimmy Rolder did play under Wink Martindale. You know what I mean? A damn good defensive coordinator. Jimmy Rolder, he has some potential, but like I said, how high is the ceiling, man? I'm not gonna sit here act like I'm gonna dissect, what he's gonna be, but I just know this, like you said, we do need another influx of talent. You know what I mean? I trust Damone Clark a little bit more right now because Damone Clark's done it. You know what I'm saying? Played in Dallas, you know what I'm saying? Hasn't had a great start to his career. But sometimes change of scenery will allow a player to be able to, flourish under, certain tendencies of a new coaching staff. So it'd be interesting to see if Damone Clark could actually unseat Malcolm Rodriguez, but I think they're a little bit different linebacker. I totally agree with Malcolm Rodriguez as well. He's more special teams, specialty guy. You know what I mean? We like Malcolm Rodriguez when we drafted him out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
But
I
like
mean
you
we
said, we
comfortable
know,
with him.
yeah,
You
we
know, if
just know
somebody get
that,
hurt, yeah.
yep, it's more talent, that needs to be influxed in there. And just what you said about Derek Barnes, Derek Barnes is another guy on this team, captain. I'm sure the defense looks to him. He's the elder statesman of the group sometimes, in certain situations, and it's a place on this team for Derek Barnes. But like you said, I don't know if he's the guy you want to be dependent on every day. I think that's why Jack got the contract, because Jack is the kind of versatile. He has backed it up the last couple seasons. We know we have a Jack Campbell, so I
He's
think,
not the difference maker we was asking for before the draft.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
why we was talking about Anthony Hill Jr.
Exactly. That's right. So yeah, I mean I agree with you. I do think it's not as bad. I don't think it's a red flag, that position, because you can get by. Now if injuries happen, then you, like you said,
Right.
then it's a mess. If injuries happen or anything like that. I think they can get by with what they have, just because I think that if the defensive line, I think out of the three units on this team, like you said, definitely the linebacker core is the bottom of the list. You know what I'm saying? Out of the three position groups on defense, I think, like you said, the linebacker core is the number three if I had to rate them. How good is the D line going to be? I think that's going to be the question. I think the D line is going to unlock some better play from secondary and linebackers, in my opinion. Because I would just like us to go downhill a little bit more and go getting after the quarterback instead of like reacting and letting the other team dictate what we're going to be on defense, man. Sort of like I said, I use Green Bay. Green Bay did it the first game of the season where they were downhill on us the whole game, and it sort of was a microcosm of the season, how it kind of turned out that way. And hopefully, man, hopefully with some new influx of talent and free agency, DJ Wanham is another guy the Lions signed.
Hmm.
I see on the depth chart here. Peyton Turner is another. He's an interesting guy, man. He really is. He played at Dallas. I think he played in New Orleans too, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. On the University of Houston, I think he went to. And Peyton Turner is a guy that can get after the quarterback. I remember he can. I don't know if injuries played a role last year. What's up, Mike? Happy Memorial Day. Appreciate you today. But Damone Clark is a wild card. DJ Wanham is another guy that you can look at and say, hey, man, if these guys can just stay on the field and just be held. I think the problem with us, we just haven't. We don't after week 1 or 2 last year. I mean, we had a plethora of guys hurt, man. It was just ridiculous how we just could not get a rhythm going. I think on either side of the ball because of injury or you know I just hopefully these guys can stay healthy. You know what I mean? And I like that we got a good selection of guys. Just let's look at the depth chart. Well, you go from Peyton Turner from the left side, the DJ Wanham, you got Makai Wingo in interior with Levi Onwuzurike again. Eric Hunter is a guy. I think he went to
Went to Rutgers.
Rutgers, yup. Out of the draft, undrafted. Anthony Lucas is another guy. You could Eric
He is an
O'Neal.
That's a wild card. Anthony Lucas is a big time wild card.
Yeah, yup. Him and I was gonna say him from USC and Eric O'Neal from Rutgers. Well, I see Eric O'Neal's a maniac. He really. I don't know if he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna make this team. But man, Eric O'Neal can play. I mean, he's not. I'm not trying to put him. What's the guy that we all like from man that went to Philly last year? Walt. I think he played at Nebraska. What's the big fella name on the middle?
Oh, the defensive tackle. They
Yeah,
had
the
all the
guy
sacks
me,
last
you,
year.
Lamar, we all like the kid, and Eric O'Neal reminds me of him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That kid, I'm gonna look him up real quick. But yeah, if you and I totally agree with you, man, about the linebacker core. Now, Skylar Gill Howard is one guy I want to talk about. Tyree West, don't know much about him coming out of
Mhm.
Tennessee. I didn't really do too much research on Tyree West, but he's another guy, 7th round pick. Now, Skylar Gill Howard reminds me of a guy I wanted from Cincinnati, Ivan Pace. Plays just like him, man. I don't know if that don't mean nothing. Hell, but I think that Gil Howard is undersized, short arms, but man, he gets to the football, Walt. I mean, pick sixes. I mean, he a little short, stubby guy, pick sixes, strong as hell. He can push guys back. I like Skylar Gil Howard. I just think the only reason why he got drafted so late is because I think that he's undersized, and that's the only reason why. I think he's got a ton of ability, man.
Yeah, I
What
think
does it
he's
all
a
mean? I don't even know what it means at this point, but you
no. He
know,
was another transfer. He's another guy that, and I put big stock in guys who performed at multiple colleges, whether you transferred or not. If
yeah,
you were productive in multiple conferences, multiple teams,
yeah,
I'm cool with it. That's what I'm about. I think this is a completely different day and age in the NFL now in regards to evaluating prospects. Yes, is it tougher to evaluate guys who move around from school to school? Sure. But production is production. And when you got
hmm,
production in different schemes, that was another reason why I was so high on Cassius Howell. Like Cassius Howell put up big time pass rush numbers at Bowling Green,
hmm,
transferred to the SEC to Texas A&M, put up big numbers there as well for 2 years. So
right,
um, I'm a big fan of Gil Howard.
hmm,
It was disappointing to me because you can make the argument the first 5 games of last season before he got hurt for
yeah,
Texas Tech, he was the most disruptive interior defensive lineman in the country.
yeah,
Now,
yep,
some of that win you can accredit to him playing next to Lee Hunter,
yeah,
who ended up being Carolina Panthers second round draft pick and I'm a big Lee Hunter fan as well. I honestly think Lee Hunter big reason for David Bailey and Jacob Rodriguez and Skylar Gill Howard and all these guys, Heights,
Yeah.
Romello Heights, all of those guys had huge pass rush numbers because Lee Hunter was in the middle of the defense, demanded a double team consistently, and being a complete disruption. That's similar to what we were just saying about what we hope Tyleek Williams can eventually evolve into that guy that's Dexter Lawrence, the guy that's so disruptive on the interior that it frees up Aiden even more. It frees up Derek Moore. It frees up Jack Campbell. It frees up everybody else.
Yeah.
But listen, man, guys, Gil Howard, Skylar Gil Howard
Yeah.
is a guy, former high school wrestler. So he knows leverage. We talked about how short he is and his body type. This is a very powerful short guy. Now, the problem is this. When guys were able to get one-on-ones on them guards, a lot of guards did dominate them. But if you take a look at this defensive line and how they strategically built them, Tyleek Williams is the nose tackle. Aleem McNeil is the three tech. He started out as a nose tackle. When he came out of NC State, they developed him into a three technique. Levi Wuzurike, Makai Wingo, Jay Tafili. And Jay Tafili is a guy who was potentially a first-round pick coming out of USC a few years ago, went to the Jets.
Yeah.
He's another wild card. They could get some production out of him. Skylar Gill Howard. These are all guys who are, even Tyree West for that matter. And Tyree West was a defensive tackle at Tennessee. All of these guys have damn near identical body types. And all of these guys are undersized interior pass rushers. So what is the plan? We got the size in the middle with Tyleek Williams as well as Aleem McNeil, the 300-pounder. Everybody else I just mentioned is under 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Gil Howard, Tyree West, Jay Tafili, Makai Wingo, and they're all interior pass rushers. So ultimately, what is it? We're going to create pass rush pressure on the interior. We can't go out and get another Aiden Hutchinson. They've pretty much clarified that they're not going to get another guy that they're going to pay that type of money to. They're not going to allocate more funds to the edge rush position. So what do? You get a bunch of undersized edge rushers, not undersized edge rushers, even though some of these guys were undersized edge rushers in college. But you have your typical size in the middle with Tyleek Williams and Aleem McNeil, your two 320-pounders. And then you bring in a wave of undersized pass rushers on the interior. That's pretty much what they plan on doing. Even Derek Moore. There's a good chance Derek Moore, in some of those odd fronts, Derek Moore plays more outside linebacker than anything. Because I don't think he's a hand in this dirt edge rusher at the next level. Because he's not that good against the run by himself. Teams ran the ball at Derek Moore as much as they could at Michigan. Now, was he able to get after the quarterback? Sure. But outside of getting after the quarterback, he's not an every down edge rusher. That's why I believe in most fronts, when they do run with that odd front, Derek Moore is going to play probably weak linebacker next to Jack more than Rodriguez is. That's just my thoughts on it. It could turn out to be completely different, but it could just be wishful thinking for me. But I got a lot of high hopes for this defensive line, bro. Probably because I see the optimism and what they could potentially do. But once again, all of this comes back to Kelvin Shepherd.
Yeah.
How creative can you get with this front? How creative can you get with this defense? Because you got some pieces out there, bro. Barring injuries. It always comes back to injuries. But if you look at this right here and everybody's healthy, you telling me as a defensive coordinator, a self-respecting defensive coordinator, you can't drum up pass rush with these players?
Yeah.
You can't get takeaways with these players? You can't get a top 14 defense in the league with this?
Yeah, Peyton Turner, well, is the guy I got, because Peyton Turner can get after the quarterback. He just got to stay healthy. You know what I mean? I've seen him, get after the quarterback. He really can. I mean, I just don't count him because I don't know what the injury. Let's just, like you said, I like the way you put that. Like if let's just say we know 100% no somebody's gonna get hurt, but let's just say for the most part, if we're relatively healthy and he's one of the guys that's on our team, I think Peyton Turner can can be an unsung hero on this team, man. You know what I'm saying? And really do something positive for this defense. I think that we just DJ Wanham is another guy. I think they're counting on him. I think he might have been one of the first or second players they signed in free agency. You know what I'm saying? So they think high of DJ Wanham. You know what I mean? To give him a contract and sign him for a year. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm more high on the secondary, I think, than the defensive line, I think. But I agree with you. I do think that it could be just it's just a situation where if we could, like you said, man, unlock Kelvin Shepherd can unlock some of these guys' talent, man. Because like you said, you hit the nail right on the head with Tafuli. You really did, man. It's another guy, Joe Bacci. He was a cult hero here from Michigan State. Tennessee. I mean, it's a filling guy if you want to say that. For the most part, it'd be nice to see, Hassanian maybe pop. You know what I mean? A defensive line, Anthony Lucas, like you said, Anthony Lucas is a pure pass rusher too. It'd be nice to see this team like develop a couple guys, coming up this season. I think if now we're talking about second, third string guys, I mean, and then that's making Hutchinson be able to do what he can do. It's making Aleem McNeil, Jack Campbell, so and then to even Terry and Arnold for to an extent and DJ Reed. And I think that those guys can be better. I think that Terry and Arnold can be better than he has been, and DJ Reed. They possibly can't be as worse as they were last year. And I think a little bit of it, I'm just gonna say, most of it is them and their ability and to be able to pick up things. But I think that a lot of it, Walt, is our defense was atrocious, man. And you gave us all the numbers at the beginning of the season. I think that's you can't hide it. That's the problem. I think that you can't. If you got a bad defense, you got a bad defense. You can't hide that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could maybe have some good stats and your edge rusher might have 13, 14, 15 sacks at the end of the season, but defense still bad, man. You know what I'm saying? No turnovers, like you said, was the big equalizer for this team, because I think we thrive off of extra possessions for our offense. You know what I'm saying? If you could get defensive interceptions, fumble takeaways, like any capacity we're doing, that allow our offense an extra possession and possibly be able to score anywhere on the field. So it's going to be very interesting, man. Well, it really is. From Dan Jackson, seeing what he does, to Ennis Rakestraw, to another guy like Makai Wingo, kind of got my fingers crossed with him. It's just a couple wild cards. And then Chris Smith has been on this team back and forth for the practice squad a couple years. Miles Adams was a guy we signed, I think, 2 years ago, from Seattle. He was here when Zadarius Smith was here, I remember. And Miles Adams has got some ability. Tyler Lacey was a guy we picked up last year. So we naming all of these guys, and I do think we're in a better spot than we were last year this time. That's all I can say. You know what I'm saying? It's a good mix of guys. Like you hit the nail. I don't even want to take your thunder on that. I mean, you said it right with Kelvin Shepherd. I think that it's all on him. I think that he got a free pass last year. I think that people are going to be coming for him this year if this defense doesn't do anything positive. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know how the media is, man. They're going to be all over Kelvin Shepherd. You know what I'm saying?
Before we get out of here, man, this might turn into another 5-minute discussion, but out of this defense right here, give me 4 players that are your guys. Like 4 players you really pulling for. They could be undrafted free agents. They could be starters. It could be a combination of both. Give me 5 of your guys out of here that you really want to see make this team and have an impact.
Wow, amazing question. I love the question. Okay, I know we're not talking offense. I'm just gonna say we ain't even got to go through the offense. But the only thing I'm gonna say is Miles Frazier. I think Miles Frazier can get that last spot next to Sewell, because you got Cade Mays, Tate Ratledge, and Blake Miller. You know what I'm saying? So Miles Frazier on the offense. That's all I'm gonna say about him right now. Derek Moore is, I think that Derek Moore is key for this team, man, for his development to be a guy that you really can count on, a for sure threat that team's going to have to account for. That's going to unlock everything on defense. I'm going to say Keith Abney. Keith Abney's a guy, rookie out of Arizona State. I really like the kid a lot. I really like him. Hopefully he could unlock some things. Kendrick Law, another guy on offense. I mentioned him in the pre-show. We'll really get into him on the next show for offensive purposes. But Kendrick Law, to add him to what we already have, would be deadly. And the last thing is develop Luke Altmaier. You know what I'm saying, on offense, Walt, at quarterback. It's just not that Luke Altmaier is ready to play right now, but I think that he has got enough ability where it's some good bones there. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you building a house and you gut the house and it's got a lot of good things about it and you don't want to tear it down, you just want to add to it and make it beautiful. I think that could be Luke Altmaier in three seasons if he's your long-term solution. But right now, leave that kid where he's at. Let him just learn your system. You know, with Drew Petzing, you got and what's good is it's good to have a new quarterback the same year you get a kind of a new offensive coordinator, and then they can grow up together, you know, that type of thing. So those are the guys. I mean, the defense, we pretty much covered every guy. Anthony Lucas is, if I had to pick a guy that's undrafted, Anthony Lucas is a guy that I'm pulling for to make, because I think we need pass rush, all hands on deck with the pass rush, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll let you take it away, but those are my guys right there.
Yeah, I was like talking about the defense in particular, but I'm gonna stick to the defense. I'll get into the offense the next show. But yeah, as far as like I said, the defense, four guys I'm really pulling for on the defensive side of the football. Hopefully they turn out to be, even if they don't turn out to be stars, I hope they turn out to be very solid key contributors. Um, I'm gonna start with the guy that we were just talking about, Skylar Gill Howard, and that's main look at, and it might be a little sad, but if you look at the defense in its totality, as far as the defensive line is concerned, he's probably the most skilled interior pass rusher out of all of them, and that's him against Makai Wingo, Jay Tafili, who's a veteran in this league, Chris Smith, Miles Adams, um, even Tyleek Williams for that matter, Levi
Yeah,
Wuzarike, and this guy
yeah,
is a rookie for that matter.
yeah,
So yeah, like
yep,
I said, Skylar Gill Howard is a guy that I'm really hoping develops and turns out to be a guy that gives us some impact this year and hopefully moving forward. Um, Anthony Lucas. I'm not sure why Anthony Lucas went undrafted. Sometimes it just happens. There's a few guys that went undrafted this year that was kind of a head scratchers, but Anthony Lucas is a guy that was a 4-star, 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Big
hmm
time combination of size and athleticism. Can play some defensive end, traditional defensive end, can stand up, 2-point stance, and get out there, really get after the quarterback. But he was a guy that whether it was USC in the system there, or it was
yeah,
him that just didn't really pan out the way they thought his career would pan out at USC. But he's a guy that's full of raw tools, boy. And if you're
yeah,
talking about somebody that could turn out to be a huge steal, it could be Anthony Lucas. Another guy, Jimmy Roller, and mainly because we got too many question marks at the linebacker position. Derek Barnes moving forward, even after
yeah,
this year coming up, he's a question mark.
yeah,
Trevor Nowalski, we know exactly what Trevor is. Damone Clark is another question mark. We have no idea about Eric Hunter or Joe Bacci for that matter. Malcolm Rodriguez is a rotational guy. Do we have a lot of emotional ties to him? Sure. But he's a guy that could be upgraded from, or we could find a better overall player. So I think the linebacker room is wide open for a guy like Jimmy Roller. Wide open
yeah,
for a guy like Jimmy Roller to jump in and become a big
yep,
time player for us. Keith
yeah,
Abney, we mentioned him as well. We're looking for another corner to emerge in this cornerback room, right along with Terrion Arnold,
yeah,
DJ Reed, Rocky Yasin is a guy that's a veteran, getting a little up in age. Um, Izian Christian Izian, he's another guy. All of these guys at the cornerback position are damn near physically carbon copies of each other. So
hmm
they have an idea of how they want to play as a team
Yeah.
defensively in the secondary. Roger McQuarrie is another guy who liked him coming out of Auburn,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
he went for Tennessee to the Rams. They chose not to bring him back. We're hoping for the most part that somebody sticks out of this secondary at the cornerback position.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go also to round it out. I'm gonna go with a guy who oh boy, if Kirby Joseph and
Yeah.
hopefully put this man's health and his life before everything else. Hopefully, mentally, this young man is where he needs to be. So that way, health wise, he can be where he needs to be as well. If Kirby Joseph is healthy and there, now he may never be a 17 game guy for us again. He may be a 13 game guy. He may be a guy that's kind of on practice restraints, a guy
Yeah.
that may play 2 games and then you may rest him. Load management in the
Yeah.
NFL, you may
Mhm.
rest him in games or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
For sure. I see
Right,
what you're saying.
but
Yeah.
we need somebody else out there that can make plays in that secondary.
Hmm.
And if Kirby Joseph can be consistently, because he's shown he's got the ball skills, he's got the alertness, he's got the hands, he's got the playmaking skills to be consistently a 5, 6, 7 interception safety. That may
Yeah.
be all we truthfully need out of him. We don't need 9 interceptions, 10 interceptions a year. If he can give us 6, 7 game changing plays, that may be all we need from a guy that could potentially turn our season around.
Yeah.
So, as far as the defensive side of the ball, those are my 5 guys right there. Eric O'Neal is interesting
Hmm.
because I do have a little film library on him from 2025, I believe, the 2025 season.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he's an interesting guy as well. But they've definitely, if you look at just the defensive line perspective, edge rushers, defensive tackle, interior guys, they've definitely upgraded on the talent this year compared to last offseason.
Yeah. For sure. Absolutely. I heard some good things about Deshaun Rucker too. Cornerback, undrafted. Um, you know, didn't know nothing about him, but I've heard some good things like coming out of college. People that seen him play ball. So, yeah, I mean, man, Walt, the official start of the season is here, man. You know what I'm saying? Many mandatory mini camps starting all the whole month of June, starting next week, and then uh, you know, the training camp actually starts the last week of July, man. So hey, we don't want to kiss the summer. We don't want to hurry up the summer at all. But man, football it's almost not in the air yet, but it's almost in the air. You know what I'm saying? Once training camp starts. So we got a lot to go over, man. The offense. We're gonna play the schedule game. We hear a lot of that in the media around here, which I think is ridiculous to even mention wins or anything like that. I mean, you like you say, you can have fun with it. It's always fun to look at the schedule. I think we should do that. But
Yeah,
to be counting 15 wins already, like you said, when you don't know how good the teams are even going to be. I mean, I think it's kind of far fetched right now, to do that. So,
I think we said that for the past couple off seasons. I
oh
mean, like I
yeah,
said, it's fun, but going through a schedule saying, "Yep, we're going to beat New Orleans. Yep, we're going to beat Tennessee." You don't know that.
hmm
You
yeah,
know, you have no idea. There's too many outside factors in football to predict wins and
yeah,
predict losses. Like a lot of us on paper were the Steelers better than us? Probably not. But we
right,
lost that game. Like there were
right,
games we lost last season where we both feel like on paper we should have won.
right.
So,
That's
and then
right.
you're talking about injuries, health. People complain about the bye week. I don't believe there's any ideal spot to have a bye week when you have a 17-week season.
That's right. That's right.
You know, if you get the bye week before week 8, fans complain. If
We
you don't
got it
get your bye
early
week
too.
until week 12, fans complain. It's like there's no perfect sweet spot to get that bye week, especially
Hmm.
for a team that plays on Thanksgiving every year. Like you're gonna have to deal with those 3 games in was it 3 games in 11 days?
Yeah, yeah,
Typically, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that. And the traveling across seas to play games, like there's too many outside factors in football for people to be trying to predict wins and losses. It just is, man. You have no idea what your team is going to look like week 6 before you start predicting to beat whoever you play week 6. It's ridiculous,
Yeah,
but
that's
like I
right.
said, I get it. It's all fun. You and I try to pretty much stick to what we think the team is on paper
Yeah,
and what it could potentially be. But like I said, we're gonna get into the offense this next show.
yeah,
I think we can get to the coaching staff, introduce everybody to the full coaching staff, all the coordinators, expectations for these coaches, coaches that may be positional coaches that may have a little bit of heat
yeah,
under their seat, man. Because it's gonna happen. Listen, you guys are my official starters, man. We appreciate that, Mike.
yeah. Mike.
Appreciate that, Mike. You always step in for us. But
Hmm.
I also think that this is a very talented football team
Hmm.
that if you're not dangerous in the hands of the wrong coordinators can be fumbled. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna
That's right.
get into bashing no coordinators,
No,
whatever,
no.
but
I
to
we
have
don't.
that to have this type of offense in the hands of a guy in Pexing who nobody has any way to hang their hat on him being an upgrade. We just
Yeah.
be honest about it. You went from Ben Johnson, who became the head coach of a team that went to the NFC Championship a year ago, and you replaced him with John Morton, who you got rid of after 1 year, and then you bring in an offensive coordinator from a losing organization. So we're gonna get into these coaches too, because I believe Petson is under a lot of heat. I believe Kelvin Shepard is under a lot of heat
Yeah.
because you and I both agree this is probably from top to bottom the best team that this organization has had
Hmm.
since
Yep.
the
I
regime
agree.
started 6 years ago.
Totally agree. We can end it on that because I'm in lockstyle. I don't even have to repeat what you said. I agree with this. So
I want to thank everybody for joining us on Memorial Day. I know a lot of people off work today. Enjoy the rest of your day before you get back to work tomorrow. Till next time, Lions Avenue.